Welcome to my top time-busting tips for Microsoft Word, and I'm Shelley Fishel of Tomorrow's VA, and if you haven't met me before, I'm going to introduce myself to you now. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I have over 20 years experience teaching Microsoft Office in the classroom, and for the last approximately 10 years online as well. I was an early adopter in the online space. I am a certified online learning facilitator and a certified designer of online learning, and that's both with the LPI, of which I'm a fellow. And I have been delivering classroom-based and virtual training for yonks, really, since 1998 in the classroom. I specialise in Microsoft Office only, and I am also the host of a weekly podcast called Virtually Amazing, where my co-host and I interview a guest expert each week, and we have a good old chinwag about things that will help you do your business, get your job better, or run your business better, or be a better assistant. I'm also the author of 49 ebooks on www.bookboon.com, and my How to Use Microsoft Teams book recently had its second edition. It had to be updated. So what are my time-busting tips, or my top time-busting tips today? Well, there are 5 of them. We're going to look at adding text automatically in Word to save oodles of time, and that's not just a paragraph. You're going to see what I mean in a moment. We're going to look at auto-correcting your mistakes. So those spelling mistakes that you make on a regular basis, maybe you misspell somebody's name habitually and you want to make sure that Word corrects it for you so you don't have to think about it anymore. We're going to have a look at the editor to see how that can impact your writing and how it can help you with your spelling, grammar and conciseness. We're going to copy some information from Excel in a great big table and pop it into a Word document, see how to manipulate it once it's in Word, and finally we're going to finish up with adding a watermark to your document. Now, adding a watermark used to be quite a convoluted experience, but now it's actually very simple. So that's what we're going to be covered. So my objective for this session are for you to go away with at least 3 actionable tips out of the 5 that you're going to implement. So have your pen and paper ready, or your notebook or digital notebook ready to make notes. And we're going to get stuck in, because I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you exactly how to do each of those things. You know the drill. There is a chunk of text or a specific table or a signature that you add to your document all the time, and you get really fed up typing it over and over again. Well, that's where auto text comes in, and that's what we're going to focus on in this segment. You'll notice that I have the insert ribbon displayed, and over here we've got quick parts. So if I click the drop down for quick parts, you'll see that I have auto text. Now notice here are some I made earlier. I've got a paragraph of text. I've got see here for more information with some nice 3D glasses. I have book tips when I'm writing my book and I want some tips in there when I do have various books online, and maybe I'm doing something about knitting and I want to pop a tip in. So each of these, as you can see, is fully formatted and ready for me to come in and type in my next information and so on. So how do I create them, and then how do I add them? But watch what happens if I start to type knitting. You'll see that a tooltip pops up and I can press enter and it then enters it. If I type coffee, it will also complete that sentence. So I'm going to show you exactly how we can add all of this to your document. So I'm going to start with the quick parts box in the auto text gallery, and there's not a lot we can do here because save selection is not available. So I'm going to create a new auto text. I'm going to use an icon for this. Let's have an easel, and what else? Show off your office skills with, oh dear me, I can't type, skills with me. And maybe I'm going to make this, just to make it interesting, let's make it blue, and let's duplicate it. So Control and D will duplicate it and pop one at the end and make that one orange. So those are my brand colors. Let's make this a title. Oh, that doesn't really work. Maybe a heading one. Yep, that kind of works. So the spacing isn't right and all the rest of it, I understand that, but that's not the point of the exercise right now. If I do this, let's put that in front and put that one in front, and then I can place them exactly where I want them. So that's a little bit better. Let's move this, let's center this, and then we can move that up. So there we go. So that is my auto text entry, and I'd like to be able to use that at the top of every document that I create. I know, but hey ho. So I'm going to select all of it. I'm going to come to the insert ribbon. I'm going to go to quick parts, auto text, and save selection to auto text gallery. Then I get to name it. So it needs to have at least 4 letters. So I'm going to call it skills. It's an auto text, so it's going in the gallery for auto text. It's in the general category. I could create categories for them, and I could type in a description, and it's saved in the normal template, which means it's going to be available to me wherever I am in Word. And I'm going to insert the content only. So I'm going to click OK. So now if I come further down the page, let's just go back, Control and L will left align. So if I start to type skills, there's my tooltip, and there is my entry. And I'll also find it in quick parts in the auto text gallery, but I might need to scroll down. Oh look, there's even more that I created when training. So that's how you can create an auto text. Now I've created some graphics, I've done some formatting, made it a heading, but it could be that you need to create a master document with lots of paragraphs of text, and you could save each of those paragraphs, those standard paragraphs, with a name, and then you could build up each time you needed a new document that used maybe paragraph 1, 7 and 9, or 2, 4 and 6. You can do that quite easily using the names of the paragraphs. I'd also always recommend having a document like this with all of your auto text entries in them. In the event that Word completely crashes and has to be rebuilt, you might lose the auto text gallery, and to be able to create them quickly, if you've got them all in a document saved somewhere in your OneDrive folder, you'll be able to recreate them very quickly indeed without having to start from scratch and spacing and all of that. So that's how we can create auto text entries in Word. Autocorrect. In a different segment, we saw all about auto text, about adding standard text to your document. In this segment, I want to show you how to correct your spellings. Now, some people use autocorrect also for adding a sentence or a paragraph in. It's entirely up to you, but it's really meant for correcting those pesky spelling mistakes that we all make. It could be that you have a colleague's name who is difficult to remember how to type, and you always get the letters transposed or mixed up or missed. For example, for many, many years, I could not type lunch. So lunch is L-U-N-C-H, I'm sure you'll agree. So watch what happens how I used to type it. I used to type L-U-C-H, and when I press the enter key, the space bar, it automatically corrects to lunch. We discovered this when I was typing up the itinerary for a group trip that I was helping to organize, and I showed the itinerary to my husband, and this was in the days before word processors, so this was on a typewriter, and he said, "Oh dear, you've typed lunch every day at lunchtime instead of lunch." And I had to go with my Tipex and my thing and correct every single one, which was a little bit of an annoying job to do. So thank heavens for auto text. So let me show you how you do that. It's all done through Word options. So we're going to go to File and then to Options. And within Options, we're going to Proofing. And it's right here at the top, Autocorrect Options. And now I get to choose what I want to do. So if I scroll down here, you'll see if I go to the L's, you'll see there's a lunch in there, lunch and lunch. There we go, lunch and lunch, because I got fed up of always typing lunch and it being wrong. So there are lots and lots of regular misspellings in here, like it was without the space, IWLL instead of will, IWTH instead of with. All of the things that we as typists, when we're in a hurry, make mistakes. So I'm going to use a different word now. I just want to check it's not there actually. I forgot to check. Something that I always used to use in the classroom training, and I forgot to check if I had added it here. No, I haven't. Excellent. So what I want to show you is, maybe I always say SONW instead. Oh, it is in there, snow. So that's what I was going to do. Okay, I'm going to come up with a different one. So file and options, proofing, autocorrect options, and what I'm going to do is HUBMLE. So that should be humble. Okay, so the word humble, maybe I transpose the B and the M all the time. So I've typed in my misspelling, I've typed in my correct spelling, and I'm going to add it to the list. You must add it. Click OK and OK again. So now HUBMLE corrects itself to humble. I had to think about that one because it's actually not one that I misspell. But I wanted you to see what it can do. Other things, as I mentioned, it could even be a whole sentence, although I believe that auto text is better for that. You could replace coffee tips with I love coffee in the morning before I go for my exercise. No, for my walk. I can't spell, so that will do. So now what will happen is if I type coffee tips, it should automatically change into my autocorrect. Notice that for coffee I actually have an auto text set up, so I'll leave it to you to decide which of those is the better one. But the other thing just to mention on that is the auto text one. If you miss the tooltip, you can press F3 on the keyboard usually, but I need my function key on, and then it will also insert the auto text. So F3 on the keyboard inserts your auto text. So there you go, autocorrect options as opposed to auto text. In this segment, I want to introduce you to the editor. The editor has replaced spell check, and it now lives here on the home ribbon. There it is, right in full sight. So here I've got a document that I use quite a lot in training. It's not very well formatted. It doesn't have any styles in it. It's just got formatting, and I use it to teach styles. But for now, I want to show you what the editor does. And I'm just going to click the editor and let it do its job. Now it pops up a task pane down here on the right hand side, and it gives me a score. So my editor score is only 86% out of a possible 100, and I've got these 3 lines, and that's the total score. So I've got accept or ignore spelling suggestions will increase the score by 9%. Then I've got accept or ignore grammar for another 2, and accept or ignore conciseness for another 3. So that will take me quite some way. And then I have the corrections listed. So I'll go to the spelling, and then this is showing me that I can change that to common, I can correct happiness, that I can ignore that one because that's a name, research findings, behaviors, there we go. I've now got up to 89%, and my spelling has been ticked. So now we can have a look at the grammar. So it's saying long term should be hyphenated, antioxidants needs the comma and remove the space, comma and space, it's all spacing, and there's one still grammar, and I think I've accepted them all. No, it looks like I didn't. There we go. It's still not one. I don't want to read it aloud. It's all been accepted. All that leaves me now is it's also checked for clarity, and it's happy with that. It's happy with punctuation and vocabulary. It just wants me to be more concise. So I can choose, it may actually be, so let's choose it. It wants me to take actually out. Linked, actually linked. It doesn't need actually, it doesn't need, there's been a lot of actuallys in this document. Again, be linked, and it's now reviewed it, and it's got to a score of 98%, which is pretty good. So now my document has been edited, it's checked for grammar, checked for spelling, checked for conciseness, and it's actually quite happy with everything else. In this segment, I'm going to show you how to take some data from Excel, paste it into Word as a table, and then resize that table, and a couple of other bits and pieces to do with tables while we're at it. So I've got my data in Excel. I'll bring it to the front. Here we are. I've got a whole spreadsheet here full of sales and cost per item, how much it cost, how much I sold, and what the total cost is. So I want to copy this data. I want to show you a quick way to select that range of data. You'll notice it's formatted. I've got a formula going on here, summing that, and a formula summing that, and there are better ways to do it, but this is what I'm showing you today. So click inside your data, and if you press Control Shift and the number 8, so basically Control Shift asterisk, that selects the range. And a range, as far as Excel is concerned, is when it ends up at blank rows and blank columns. So now I can use Control and C to copy. I can head over to my nice Word document, which I'll make bigger, and I can paste that in. Now you'll see it's gone in all a bit funny. It doesn't really fit on my page. And I've also got a Smart tag here. So let me talk about the Smart tag first. The Smart tag will allow me to paste my data into Word in different ways. For example, this one will keep the source formatting. So it will leave it formatted as it was in Excel and paste it into Word and override any local formatting. This one will use the destination styles. Immediately it fits a lot better, although it's not perfect. I can keep the source formatting and link the data, or I can match the destination and link the data. I can paste it in as a picture, in which case it's just a flat picture, or I can just keep the text, which I think we could all agree is pretty horrible. So I'm going to use the destination style because it will fit a little bit better. And now I've got all my data linked. So what does that mean, having my data linked? Well, we'll look at that first. So here we've got on the second row, in Leeds, we sold 153 lattes. So I'm going to save this document first. I'm going to call it Coffee Sales for Admin Chat. And I am going to save it into my admin chat folder. There we go. So I can find it again later. And I'm going to go to my document, my spreadsheet. So the second was the lattes. Remember 153. I'm going to make this 1,000. And when I do that, all of the numbers should change. So the total sales has changed and the total has changed. And I'm going to save that. Now when I come back to Word, it hasn't yet changed, but this is a field. So if I right click and update the link, it will automatically change. So I'm going to need to do that for all of the places where things should have updated. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you here was how to resize this table. One of the things I could do, which would make life a lot easier, is change the page here to landscape. So if I did that, sorry, I went the wrong ribbon. If we change the layout orientation to landscape, it is going to fit better. And there we can see that we can update that link as well. But I think it did when I updated the first one, they all updated. So that's all nice and up to date. So if we try that again, just to make sure, 56 macchiatos. So we'll go back here, 56 macchiatos. Let's make that 5,000. So everything changes. Down here, it's now 73. Again, we'll save that. we'll come back here and we can update that link. It will update everywhere. Now that is very cool. It means that you can build a report where your data is in Excel, bringing it into Word, and it will update as you update that data. So if this Word document were closed and I went and made a lot of changes to my Excel spreadsheet, the next time I open that Word document, so long as I've saved everything in Excel, then this document will update itself and it will prompt you to update the links. So let's have a look now at the table element, because this is a table. And we can see it's a table because we've got the table design ribbon and the table layout ribbon. So I can do all sorts of things now. When I'm clicked inside the table, let's see if I can spell macchiato correctly. That would help, wouldn't it? So when I want to resize a column, you'll see I've got what I call, then it's not a technical term, it's just my own word, these fuzzy squares on the ribbon. And this is the size of the column. So I can make columns wider or narrower. So I'm going to make that one narrower. I'm going to make cost per item like that. Number sold a bit like that. Item, yeah, item's about right. The category can go in a little bit. So you can resize your, that one's not so good. That one needs to be a bit wider. And that one, yeah, that's probably okay. So now we've got everything sized how we want, and macchiato is still not spelled correctly in those places, but never mind, that's not our problem right now. I've also got this resize handle at the bottom here, and I can actually drag it and resize the table that way. So that's another option for resizing a table. And I can move the table if, let's just undo that, by clicking on this little four-headed arrow. That will allow me to move it around as well and do different things, but I don't like doing that because it kind of goes wonky. Now here I have my table, and it's over 3 pages. We can see it's one of 3 pages. So I'm going to go back up to the top. By the way, Control and Home will always take you to the top of your document. And so I've resized it, I've gone to the top, but my header rows are only showing up on the first page. And I'd really like these headings to show up on the other pages too. So you need to be clicked inside your table, and you need to be on the layout ribbon. And you're going to look for repeat header rows. And when you click repeat header rows, as I scroll down, you'll see that Word appends to each page a row with the headings on, and it's going ahead and saving my document, which is stored in OneDrive. So those are just a few things that you can do for resizing tables. We can also change what it looks like, so we can make it look nice like so. If I don't want to see the field codes, I can go to the File and Options, and I think it's Display, update fields, update print drawings, show formatting, no, it's not there, it's under print. It's under printing, proofing. I can't remember where it is, but there is a place where you can turn off and not see the highlight, but the highlight is handy because you can see what's updating. And of course that highlight doesn't print. So if I go to print here, that's what it would look like when it printed. So I can preview it like so. Now because I added the pretty heading to it, it got rid of my header rows. So let's see if we can add that. It's not available. So that's one of the drawbacks of using the table design. So if I don't want to use the design, I can take it back to the regular table, and then I should be able to, and then I can convert it to a range. Oh, I'm in Word, I'm not in Excel, aren't I? I'm in Word. To make the header row repeat, I was doing a rookie mistake there. I was clicked outside of the header row. You need to be clicked in the header row for header rows to repeat, and then they do repeat. So again, if I go to table design and I choose one of the others, does that remove them? It does. But if I come back into header rows it will now repeat them, even with the nice design. So I was getting a bit too overexcited there for my own good. So we've seen in that segment how to select a range of data in Excel with Control Shift and asterisk, to use Control C to copy it, to bring it into Word and paste it, and then to use the Smart tag to decide how it's pasted, either as the destination style or as the original style, and whether we want the data linked or not. If we choose to keep the data linked, then we can update the data in Word whenever it changes in Excel, keeping our reports up to date. Then we saw how to rearrange it. In this case, I made it landscape, so it fitted better, but you could just resize the columns if you wanted to, as I showed you earlier. And we then saw how to make the header rows repeat and how to apply a design to the whole table, and also how to reapply header rows repeat when they disappeared. So that's all about resizing tables in Word. Now there are times when you need to add a watermark to your document, whether that's confidential, draft, or any other word that springs to mind. So here I am back in my coffee document, and I want to add a watermark to these pages. So they've all got pictures on, but never mind. You'll see that I have the design ribbon displayed, and it's over on the very far right hand side is watermark. And there are some standard ones that I can choose. So I could choose confidential like this, and then that appears on every page, which is quite neat. I could change it to go like that, or do not copy, or draft. So I have got choice of how that goes. But what if I want to remove it? So I can remove it from there. And I'm going to show you how to create a custom watermark. So let's say I want to create a watermark from a picture. I can go and select the picture, and it's going to say, where do you want to get it from? So I'm going to get it from a file. And let's just go into my coffee folder and choose this one. So I've got my picture, and then it wants me to, it's choosing washout, and I can scale it. I'm going to leave it auto, and I'm going to apply and OK and close that. And there's my watermark in the back of every page. Probably not the best image to use, but I wanted to illustrate the point. So again, we can remove that watermark. And again, coming back, a custom watermark. Let's say I want to create a text one this time. Choose which language, English United Kingdom, and there's various other text options we want. Or I can, this document belongs to Shelley Fishel. I can choose the font. Let's go for a different font. I like Montserrat. Let's see if it's in the list. It should be Montserrat medium. And I can even choose the color I want. So I'll make it my orange, semi-transparent, diagonal is great, apply. And now I've got my watermark there across this document belongs to Shelley Fishel. So that's how you can add that watermark, and then you can remove it. And I think you're going to have lots of fun creating your own watermarks for your Word documents. Thank you for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour around my favourite tips in Microsoft Word, well, a few of them anyway. So what are you going to do first? Putting things into practice immediately means that you will remember them. So what are you going to do? Let us know in the comments on the video below. And how can you carry on finding out about me and what I'm up to? Well, you can sign up for my newsletter. If you go to tomorrowsva.com/get-the-news, you'll be able to sign up to the newsletter. You'll be informed about new course releases. You can find my online courses. I have a whole suite of them at coursedirectory.tomorrowsva.com, and you can visit the blog on www.tomorrowsva.com/blog, and there's blog updated every week there, and the newsletter goes out every Thursday. Find me on Twitter. I am at tomorrowsva or at Shelley Fishel. On LinkedIn, I love talking to people. I'm Shelley Fishel on LinkedIn. find the website www.tomorrowsva.com, find my courses on my course directory, or drop me an email to shelley@tomorrowsva.com. And I look forward to seeing you at another event in the future.